baby, what it do? Do for me and I'ma do for you, no doubt about it. Boosie, I'm a Midwest king, looking for myself a queen. Ready to chase a dream with a dope self-esteem. You find it in all I know, and that's for real. You get to shaking that ass on the floor, and I see what's real. No disrespect, I just tell it like it is. Do you ever want some kids? What your ultimate goals? Maybe I can help with those. The mo was broke when he made you a blessing. You looking like a whole buffet, and I need some seconds. You say you had promiscuous ways, that was back in the day. I'll be alive, I say I did it, that shit was a phase. So baby, take this journey with me. You can pick the time and place, this nigga isn't picky. Smile on your face, I know the deal. Sign and deliver after seal. I can see it in her eyes, this one right here for real. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby, listen, I'm just saying. We can rule the world, just me and you, if you go playing. Won't you take the chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk, yeah. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Lady, you so far ahead of these others, just like a ship on the horizon. Picking up on your vibe, signal stronger than Verizon. All the thoughts that I've been contemplating, ain't no time for faking or debating. You the one, ain't no mistaking. Look, I see your swag different. Always carry yourself like you ready, you know the mission. I had to know you, I'm Kim. I can see why you timid. Hold up now, baby, listen. Just take that dance with me, I can show you that there's a difference. I'm locked in. I throw away my playaways because you pop in. A shooter always shoot a shot. With you by my side, I guarantee we'll reach the top. I put that on God and them, I give you all that I got. So baby, take this journey with me. You can pick the time and place, this nigga isn't picky. Smile on your face, I know the deal. Sign and deliver after seal. I can see it in her eyes, this one right here for real. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby, listen, I'm just saying. We can rule the world, just me and you, if you could play. Won't you take that chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk, yeah. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk to me.
Welcome to the Behind Them Sticks podcast, brought to you by TSWS Gaming. Yo, all right, sweet. Mic's on, everything's cooking. We are good. Welcome to another fantastic episode of Behind Them Sticks with your boy Ham Solo 05 Gaming here with you. And I brought a fantastic guest with me today. He said, I might not be so fantastic to have on today. And then he told me his opinions, and I'm like, what the fuck you mean? I agree with you. So it's just like, so we got Mr. RiskIt for that motherfucking biscuit here with us today on the TSWS Gaming channel. Behind Them Sticks. Let's go. So good to see you guys up in the chat. I see Sergeant Sentinel Gaming up in here. Boogie Main. Mr. Joanna Darks kicking it. He was the first one to arrive, but Mr. RiskIt, brother, how's it going on your side of the world?
Oh, it's going pretty good, man. I've been copping a lot of heat on Twitter, but other than that, it's going well.
That sounds par for the course for you, though, bud.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But normally, it's not from the green team. It's normally from the blue team. But this week's been a little bit different. The green team's been coming after me. And if you're wondering why my ear looks bigger on the left, it's because I snapped my my headset whilst I was spinning around. But yeah, I mean, like, well, we got to talk about this Starfield thing, right? Because that's what I'm saying. It's just disappointing to see.
You're coming in hot right now. You're coming in hot. I love it.
It's not like they just making another mistake. Like, it's just another misstep. Like, it's not a massive misstep, but it's a misstep that, like, I couldn't figure out why I was so pissed off. Right? I was like, I don't know, why am I so angry about this? Because Starfield's not even like the biggest thing for me, like Redfall's, and that's coming. So why do I care? Well, I care because I'm not going to say lied, man, because that's I hate it when people do that, because it's not a lie. Not like they intentionally went out there and like missed a date, but but they just can't seem to stick the landing, man. Not like you when you like come down off that parachute thing and like land. I don't know if you guys saw that in the intro, but that's like he stuck that landing. So the opposite of what Starfield's doing. Yeah, I just don't trust him now. That's the thing. I'm disappointed. I'm not angry anymore. Yeah, I'm just disappointed. I hope, Phil, you're watching and that you care what I think.
Oh man, I love it. What a intro. I mean, yeah, now we definitely got to talk about some news, but we'll get into that here in just a little bit. First and foremost, please announce yourself, shout your channel, do all that stuff. Everybody needs to know what gaming and social media platforms that you're on so they can either get in touch with you to play a game or, check out your content.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on PlayStation. No, I'm kidding. You can.
Oh Lord, the whole room's blue behind you too. It's looking scary.
That's right. Yeah, and then I went and bought this yesterday just in case. Right? I thought I might need it. No, I didn't.
Oh God.
You can find me on YouTube at RiskIt4theBiskit, but we have a podcast with Mr. Umbra Infinite Umbra on there, as well as Doom QD Jedi Knight Peter. We go live every Friday, 7 p.m. EST. I woke up before 4 o'clock in the morning this morning, and my little fella's sick. Poor fella. And you can find me on Twitter. Like you won't not see me on Twitter. You dip into these gaming spaces, and I'll pop up, I'm sure. But you can find me at RiskIt4TB. And I'm excited to be here, man. Let's do that. I didn't know if I was going to make it because, like I said, the little guy's sick. So I was like, man, I don't know how sick he's going to be when he wakes up. But he woke up pretty good. So that's good. I
had two things ready to post on to Twitter today. One was, sorry, we couldn't make it today. We will reschedule. And then I also had I guess we're going to do this thing. And I had to wait until the last hour to post it. And I was just like, I wish I could post it earlier, but I don't want to set everybody up just to be let down.
To come in.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. I had a spate. He's been pretty good. The little, I know it's a gaming podcast, but he's been pretty good. Like he got sick for a while there. Like he was pretty crook. And now he's been pretty good. But tonsillitis, man, I've had it. I feel for him, man. It's not nice. It's not a nice thing to have. So he's all right. He's going well. Let's do this.
Yeah, I've had my tonsils out. That I was telling them just a little bit ago. I was leaned out for like an entire week. I was living the future lifestyle. It was great. No, it wasn't that great. I was fucking laid out. But anyways, bro, I appreciate you for coming on here. What are you playing as right now, brother? What's going on with you? I know you're not playing Starfield. I know you're not doing that.
Too soon, dude. Too soon. Now, look, I am playing. See, I'm a bit behind because I just started a new job in which I fly in and fly out to. And so it's been a bit tough. I just bought me a TV. Because the TV I had was from the 1990s and it was flickering, man. If I didn't have epilepsy, I was going to get it from like watching that TV. So I went and bought me a TV. So I haven't been able to play much. But I'm still in Dead Space. I've just started Harry Potter. I finished off a little game called Xing. Yes! Sonu.com. We'll talk about that in a minute. The RE4 demo. I'm like super hyped. Show's over.
Yeah, right. he was hyped too. He's seen that as soon as we popped into the Discord. He's like, "RE demo's out," and I was like, "What?" He's like, yeah, "There's a Red Dead or not Red Dead, Resident Evil demo out right now," and I was just like, "Wait, shit. When did that happen?"
Yeah, like
and he's like, "Just now."
I think they dropped it. Yeah. So I'll be playing that. You better believe I'll be playing that. So Dead Space Hogwarts just finished Xing. Xing's a little tiny Polish game, side scroller. If you think of Shredder's Revenge, if you like Shredder's Revenge, spend the $30, go and get that game because it is better than Shredder's Revenge, and that was a cool game. So I really love that. Xing, SHING. I just saw the Games with Gold thing drop the other day. Is a tactical, I can't remember the name of it, tactical shooter, like war, sort of like Command and Conquer. And that looks wicked, so I'll be playing that too.
You're talking about the World War II kind of thing, or the...
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Strike 4 or something. That looks sick. Yeah, there's honestly, I've got a whole lot of stuff on the go at the minute, and I've had to put stuff aside. I'm still in Hi-Fi Rush, man. I got everything like happening, but now I got this TV. I am definitely going to be hitting it hard when I'm at work. I'll be working a little bit.
All right, so you're going to be working on that Xbox pretty hard, but going to be waiting on a few other things that you wish you were going to be playing soon. But we will get into that here in a little bit. What I want to know is what was your history a little bit. So like, let's go back to the young Biscuit. Okay. Let's see what he was all about when he was young. All right. So what was the very first console that you ever had? I usually ask people this before, but we were clowning before the show and I just completely forgot. So let me know just as you let everybody else know.
The console would be the Atari 2600, I think it was.
Okay.
But before that, I had a Commodore 64. That's technically, it's a computer, but that was never a computer. It was always for games, right? You know, you pop in your tape, close the tape deck, you wait half an hour for it to load, and you had to wait half an hour to figure out if it was going to fuck out on you. So you'd be like, damn it, flip the tape. Do a little thing where you tighten up the thing and I'll make it work. You blow that shit out, put it back in, wait another half an hour.
Oh my God.
Play Frogger. Yeah, man. I'm like, what am I now? 10 and 43 this year, man. So a lot of people call me a fat old man. You're right. So that was, I think where I really sort of fell in love, though, was definitely Sega. I had a Sega, what we called over here, a Mega Drive. I think you guys called it a Genesis.
Yes.
That I love, man. Mortal Kombat, Rolling Thunder.
Do you still remember the blood code for Mortal Kombat?
Yep. Oh, no, off the top of my head. Nope.
I can tell you it right now. ABACABB. Get over here. The blood starts and the blood starts going down the screen.
Yeah, man. And there's a lot of controversy around that. And in Australia, they wanted to ban it. I think they wanted to ban it everywhere, but they were trying to ban it. They never did, so that was good. And we progressed as gaming, so that was good because it looked like for a while that politicians are going to get involved and stunt that down. I had a friend who, my best friend, and he had a Nintendo. So we were like switching between the Super NES and the Mega Drive. We were getting along on different consoles. Can you believe it?
That's hard to believe. I don't believe it.
We still console warred, but it was all friendly, you know. And it gets
I believe that it just wasn't friendly.
It gets a little bit extra on Twitter these days. And then what did I sort of move to? I moved to the PlayStation 1, man. That's when things really picked up, right?
Yeah, you're not lying. It really did. Yeah. PlayStation 1, you're saying like after the Genesis. I mean, obviously there was a lot of in-between stuff. So, you know, like Saturn, 3DO, Jaguar. There was 64. A lot of stuff. Yeah, 64 was extremely dominant during that time. But yeah, for the most part, when people think of that generation, it's like 64, PlayStation, and maybe Saturn.
Yeah, see, I was pretty dirt. I grew up in a really poor, what you guys call projects. So I grew up in, we call it Holmes West Housing. So I grew up in the Holmes West Housing area. So we didn't have much money. So like the only experience that I had with the Saturn and the 3DO was renting them from Blockbuster. You know,
yeah, a lot of people forget Blockbuster rented them whole consoles, and they gave you like a suitcase essentially to take home, and you had to make sure that there wasn't a scratch on that sucker when you brought it back.
When you brought it back, yeah. Otherwise, it's like $400 or something ridiculous. Yeah. So we played a little bit of that, but not a whole lot. And 64, there wasn't a whole lot on the 64, and I didn't have one, but my best friend, that dude, he had one, and there wasn't a whole lot. That Mario Karts, they sort of ruined with the 64, and that was our thing, man. SNES, Mario Karts, that was the thing. And then it went 3D, and it wasn't quite the same. But when PlayStation dropped, man, with Tekken and Need for Speed, I can see it now. What I can tell you is the code for the Warrior, the 420 kilometer hour per car that you can get on Need for Speed. That's Tosca, TOSCA. Yeah, the Warrior was awesome. We played that game for a year straight, man. Like Need for Speed. We just did not put that game down. It was nuts. But that's when things picked up with gaming. I sort of dropped off through the PlayStation 2 era. I had some stuff going on. I grew up in a poor area. And then I sort of came back to it. I probably dropped off in my late teens, came back to it in my early 20s. So I had a break of about a generation, really. And then came back to the Xbox. I went over to my mate's house, and he was playing, I think it was Abe's Odyssey. And I was like, dude, what is this? And he's like, Abe's Odyssey. I'm like, what is that? And he's like, it's an Xbox. I'm like, what? He's like, an Xbox. I'm like, Jesus, it's huge.
It is. It was. And it's heavy as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, you could like kill people with that thing. I'm sure there's probably been a couple of anyway. But like,
You can do that with
I
a
played
controller.
Abe's Odyssey, and I was sold, though, dude. I was sold, man. That was it. I was an Xbox guy from then on. I went out the next, I think it was the next day, and got an Xbox. So it wasn't like a day one, but it wasn't long after day one. And man, I have been an Xbox guy ever since. And now I didn't touch a PlayStation. I went through this 360 era. I was massive into Battlefield, so I played COD up, I think, until Modern Warfare 3. I was like that guy. I was the dude, bro.
You like the bad companies and stuff like that?
Yep, jumped in Bad Company. Was it okay? I think when it really hit was 3. And then that's it. I was a Battlefield dude. I was playing Battlefield 3. Sorely disappointed with the launch of 4. People forget that shit, man. You're rubber banding across the map, all over the shop. That was a
That's insane.
horrific. It was a horrific launch. It was so bad.
Which one do you think is worse, that or 2042?
Yeah, no, 2042. 2042.
You would say 2042?
Yeah, because the launch, Battlefield 4's launch was bad. Game-wise, definitely 2042. They made a whole bunch of design choices that just didn't make any sense. So it's a bad game, whereas Battlefield 4 was it was Battlefield, proper Battlefield. So yeah.
The messaging around 2042 is questionable as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And just the size of the maps, bigger isn't always better. I don't know. They've just done some very strange things with that's it. I dropped off after 5. So I played 5. 5 was all right. And then I don't know, I started watching these podcasts, man. And then I started learning about more games. Then I think 2018 came along. And I was like, all right, I'm going to join this Twitter thing that I keep hearing about. I've been around since 2018 on Twitter. I just didn't do much. I just watched. And then Game Pass came along, and I started playing all these different games. So I sort of breaking out of the dude bro thing. And I was playing this game and that game and all these, this is pretty cool. And then I was playing their backlog. Now I hadn't, up until 2020, I hadn't played Halo 2, 3, or 4. So I had played Combat Evolved, and I'd never played 2, 3, or 4. Just wasn't my thing. I had played 5. And then I met a dude called Jedi Knight Pete on a podcast, and I told him that. Met Umbra as well. I was talking to Umbra in Spaces, and I said, man, I'm going to play this because Infinite was coming out. So it was late 2020. Played through the whole Halo series, became a massive Halo fan. Yeah, man, I've just been playing everything since pretty much 2018. I don't think in 2021 when I met Pete. 2020 when I met Pete, I was like, do you want to start a podcast? Took a little while to get it going, and here we are. That's my history. That's my story.
That's a sweet story. Thank you, Thug.
Yeah.
I
I kind of raced
appreciate
ahead
it.
because you asked me one question. You asked me like one question. You're like, "What was your first console?" I'm like, "Here's my life story."
Yeah, that's exactly how that happened. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna let this ride.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. But all right, so throughout that history, since you kind of raced ahead and did your own thing, and I'm cool with that because my questions keep coming for days. I can never stop. But I'm kind of curious at what point, like throughout that Xbox journey, you actually like what about Xbox did you like so much? Because you said a lot about, like Battlefield got you in, but what was like the first party game to grab a hold of you and like really get you?
Wasn't a game. It was live.
Oh,
Because that changed the game, like literally. So I remember that, like, because you guys got it, like Americans got it. I think it was almost a full year before us, but I was like, oh man, because they pushed that pretty hard, that whole live thing. I was like, man, why haven't we got this? As soon as that came, I was like, day one. As soon as that came, I got my little card. You had that little card thing with your code on it and the instructions. Then you got your little like one ear headset thing, like the most terrible mic in the world or whatever. And then you could like link it to the internet, man. It just opened up a whole new world. That was the moment. And I think at that time I was playing Battlefield 2. Yeah. That was the moment I was like, yeah, no, this is cool, man. It wasn't a first party game. I love Gears though, man. Gears of War was the first, like that. Remember that trailer?
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Like when I saw that trailer, I was like, oh, I don't even know what this is, but this is going to be good. And it was. Shout out to Cliffy B.
It was really like outside of what we were used to seeing in gaming.
Mm-hmm.
You know
And
what
it
I'm
was
saying?
like chainsaw and shit in half, and it's like, man, that was so good. And then when you heard Cliffy talk about chainsaw and people in half and how excited he got about it, you were like, oh man, this game is going to be good. He's like, and I'm like, yeah, man, this game is going to be awesome. And it was. So first party wise, that would probably be the game that was like, man, this is like, you have to have an Xbox. There was nothing on PlayStation that interested me at all. Yeah, they just didn't have anything that I wanted to play. And I'm not being an expert when I say that, like, but just at the time, there wasn't anything that I was keen on the two. And I'm sure they had good games, but I couldn't tell you what they were because nothing grabbed me. I mean, the only time I've got a PS5 like right over here, but it's holding the door open. My doorstep. No. Okay. Yeah, well, I dropped it a couple of times, so the liquid metal leaked out on the floor. It was good. Anyway,
Give it a good shaking.
And the only time I came back to PlayStation is the 4, man, because you obviously you can't not hear if you're on Twitter about how good these games are.
Time out real quick. So you said you took a break pretty much after the original PlayStation, ended up with an Xbox, rocked up with Xbox all the way up into the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, you sound exactly like myself. I didn't have a
I didn't
have a PS3 or a PS. Actually, I didn't even have a PS4. I went from PS2 to PlayStation 5. I was only Xbox.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I only got the 4 because I was at a mate's place and we were drinking and we were talking about shit. I think The Last of Us. And I was like, she's like, oh, it's really good. I'm like, yeah. Well, I mean, that would be the only game. That was the only game. That and God of War, but I wasn't even that into God of War. But then, like, she was just like, well, I got a spare one. Do you want it? And I'm like, okay. It was like 6 months before the PS5 came out. And then I sat down and played. I played Last of Us first. Finished that, was just like, holy shit, this is good. Finished God of War next. I was like, holy shit, this is good. That was pinnacle game for me. Played Spider-Man, was like, it's all right.
Time out.
I finished it.
Time
It's all
out. Why is this a okay game? Like, so let's rewind back a little bit again. What's your history in playing Spider-Man games? Do you have any?
Yeah, when they're on Xbox. Yep.
So like the Activision ones, like 1, 2, and 3. What was it, like Shattered Universe or whatnot? I don't remember.
No, I wasn't. I didn't play Shattered Universe. I played the so you know the ones that were based on the Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, that's movie? 1, 2, and 3. Yeah.
I played those. I didn't play any of the other ones. I'm not saying it's not a good Spider-Man game.
No, I was asking you that just to like see what your rating was in between those older school games compared to now. Like, what was it about maybe the older ones that you may have liked more than today's or something?
They're on Xbox.
Oh my god! This man is relentless.
No, look, I think this is probably the best one that's been made to date. But it got really Ubisofty, right? Like like go here, do this, go there, go here, pick up this pack, go here, do this. I mean, but the actual. So if you just play this, if you did, I see. My problem is I have to do everything, and then what I'll likely do with most games, so like with Odyssey, which was a great game, too big, like distance wise. So like distance between here and there, and I don't like fast traveling either, but I will. But like it's too big. There's too much to do, and I was like, I just gave up on it. But I can't either. I'm either doing everything or I'm giving up. And with Spider-Man, I did everything, but it took away from the story, and I thought the story was pretty good. Like it was a good story, good Spider-Man story,
really good story.
And it was a good game. But because I did all the side shit, like with the story, it just like split everything up. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't a cohesive. You're never going to have a cohesive story line with an open world game. Like if you do all the side content as you play. And the problem is that I think with doing it, with having an open world game like that, is it ruins the story. But you have to do that to sort of level up. You know what I mean? Normally, not in all games. In Spider-Man, not really. You didn't really have to.
Yeah, you didn't really have to. But if you wanted to take advantage of all the upgrades and everything like that, you have to veer off for sure.
Yeah. And that sort of annoys me because I want to get all that stuff and then go to the final thing. I wonder how it would work. I mean, it obviously doesn't work in game design if you just did like an open world game where that stuff didn't actually have an impact on your gameplay. Because doing it that way has a negative impact on the story. It breaks it up. And if you're like me and you've got a shit memory, sometimes you're like, shit, well, where are we at? You know what I mean? Like
that's what happened to me on Hogwarts. I was doing great, figuring out what I was doing, and the story is pretty good so far. And then I veered off into the woods, and I didn't come back for like 25 levels. And then when I came back, I was just like, "Oh, I forgot, Fig. What's up, dude?"
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's unless it's like a really impactful story. And I guess that's probably why these third-person over-the-shoulder games are like sort of really have their place, because you're upgrading as you go when you're moving through the story, and like I like that shit. We can take the piss out of PlayStation as much as you want, but they work, man. They really work as games. That design of a game. They probably don't work as fake remakes though.
Okay.
You were reading.
Oh man, yeah. I was looking at the chat. What up, Chris Toast, Nelson Gaming popped through, Pyro, what's cracking? Good to see you up in here, just hanging out, talking with RiskIt. But anyways, now I want to kind of tackle a little, like, before we get into talking about some more gaming stuff, because I wanted to kind of, be that from here on out. But I want to get into some of the content creator stuff just to kind of nip that in the butt, but also because I'm curious. I have some questions about like how you formulated and whatnot. You already told me about, how you met up with Jedi Knight and you guys, you asked, hey man, you want to start a podcast and stuff like that. But how the heck did you even come up with the idea of making a podcast in the first place? Like let's go before Twitter even. And I'm wondering, like, did you do anything in the past that warranted, hey, I want to be on mic and I want to possibly be on camera? I want like where did this idea or dream come from?
Well, I have been on a TV show before. Not one that you guys would have watched because it's an Aussie one. Brisket's motto: "Fear the beard." Charlie Hustle. Well, before I do answer that question, I know it's Nelson. I didn't go to Xbox in 2018. That's just when Game Pass came in, and that's when I kind of spread out and started playing more games. So I mean, if that's what you mean, like, yeah, I mean, it is an odd time, but I was a dude, bro. I was just playing Battlefield and Battlefield. That's all I was playing. I mean, I was ranked 3 in Australia for the engineer class, I think, for a while with Battlefield 1. But anyway, so the question was, how did I come up with the podcast, the idea? I don't know. Been watching dealers for podcasts for RDX since back before 2018, or on 2018, around that time. And that's why I joined Twitter, because you hear stuff. They talk about Twitter stuff. I'm like, what is going on this thing?
Right.
Didn't really interact much. Didn't do anything in the chat. Like, never interacted in the chat. Couple of times, but I was under a different name. And then picked up a few more podcasts like that I was sort of watching around the place. And then I think it was 2021. It wasn't 2020, actually. It was 2021. So it's 2021, and I was like, started talking, changed my name, started interacting on Twitter, started interacting in the podcast, and then met Pete. Then me and Pete were just hanging out, playing Halo, like going through the Legendary Edition. And then, I don't know, we were just having these conversations about gaming, what's going on, like arguing about shit, about like what we think Microsoft needs to do, what PlayStation's doing, what do we think the new consoles are going to be like, all that sort of stuff. And then I was like, man, fuck, I've always kind of wanted to do a podcast. I wouldn't mind doing a podcast and this shit. We're doing a podcast every time we're hanging out. Like,
right.
Do you want to do it? And he was like, sure, yeah, I'll do it. So I was like, all right, man. Started just fiddling around with it and playing with it, going back and forth. And Pete's one of those guys that if he doesn't like something, he will tell you, not nicely. I'll be like, what do you think of this? Yeah, it's shit. What about it shit? Oh, the whole thing. So we went just back and forth. Like he sort of helped create it. Like I was sort of making it, sending it over. What do you think of this? What do you think of this idea? What do you think of this idea? What do you think of this name? What do you think of this name? We just back and forth. And I'm like, fuck it, let's just do it. I think our first one was horrific, dude. Our first one, I couldn't get sound because I run a Mac setup. Which is, I know. So I run a Mac setup. So yeah, the first one we didn't have sound. They could just hear me. So we had to shut it down, reboot it. And Umbra was there for that first one too, man. He was with us on the first podcast. I think he missed the second one. And the third one, I was like, no, we got to get Umbra back like full time.
Yeah, good dude.
Yeah. So like and then, I hit up Umbra and we sort of that was the core initial group. We had another member, but things didn't work out with old mate. And then we got to Cutie. But yeah, just coming up with the idea, man. I don't know. The format of it is sort of just created itself. So like, you've got to keep shit moving, right? That's my thing, is like, you got to keep it moving. Sometimes as we went on, like initially it was easy to keep people moving, but as we gotten to know each other a lot better, like I don't keep it moving as much because sometimes shit gets funny. So I like let it go and just let it go out a bit. Yeah, but it's sort of developed itself like over time from like everyone's input and everyone who's on the show, and even the guests, like everyone who's like been through, like we've sort of learned, all of us, like Umbra Cutie, Jedi, we all sort of learnt like just what our groove is. And the groove changes every time you have a different guest, but the groove between us is all very similar. So yeah, it sort of developed itself, man. I would say that was all me.
Nice. Now, you said Umbra was on the first episode, correct?
Yeah.
Was he Eternal Umbra at that time, or was he Infinite?
He was Eternal.
He is Eternal. Okay. Yeah. he was everlasting at that moment. Okay, so I want to hear like, so what got you to ask him to come on the very first episode?
Oh yeah.
That's interesting.
So the Umbra side's a bit different. So I don't know if you remember, like when Spaces came in, right? And they started out pretty cool, and then they just got really toxic really quick. It's really weird to watch that, to be involved in that, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of ponies that have got me blocked because of Spaces. But like,
oh, whoops.
So it was really weird. So we're all together, like talking, and then it would always end up in an argument. You'd start out nice, always end up in an argument, because it was like the PlayStation guys and the Xbox guys, and then someone would say something fucking stupid. Could be on like either side, right? It could be like Xbox guys, or someone would say something stupid, someone would come in and call them out. Next minute they're on, like everyone's just on it, man. And then while that was going on, so Umbra started to, I think he obviously picked that early, and then he started to host, or he was hosting, but started to host and then really control the Spaces, you know, when they could see they were kind of getting out of hand. He's a really good arbiter. And he was a really good arbiter in Spaces. And so I started to gravitate towards his Spaces, because I just like, I know you see me on Twitter. Most of the time, that's just to wind people up for a laugh. It really, really is. I don't want the drama. I don't want like to be arguing with people in Spaces. I'd like to have a good conversation. And then that's sort of what he was able to provide with his Spaces. And so, because I was hanging out in those Spaces a fair bit, we were getting to know each other and getting to talk. And he's a good dude, man. So obviously he's got a terrible voice. But we decided, because of his voice, we're just going to ignore that part, you know, of him, and invite him on.
Yeah, good Lord, don't let him sing. My goodness, he has a terrible voice. Terrible.
I never let him sing. He hates it. But he's going to be singing on his podcast, The Fix. So they'll be singing, I'm sure of it. Yeah, so we just had him in, man, and yeah, we just gelled. We were like-minded. We're all pretty like-minded. I ain't going to say politically, because all three of us have different political stances,
sure.
Which becomes very interesting at times. But we do have the same console stance. And quite often we'll disagree with each other. That's the thing. Like, so we're like-minded in a lot of ways in life. So like how you treat people, what respect means to you and other people, and just values, I would say. We all share similar values. Now, views on gaming, not always. But we do, this is the thing, because we have these core values that we all value, we then are able to have the back and forth without attacking each other, which makes for a really good podcast. And I hate when everyone's agreeing with each other. Like, I don't know if you've ever watched RDX. Yeah. You ever watch RDX and they're like all disagreeing, and then they move to the next topic?
Oh yeah, screw those guys. They're terrible dudes. all
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah, but the topics that become really interesting normally when Fonz says something like that's completely negative. No, but like normally when like one of them says something, the other one disagrees, and then they get super passionate about it, and that's the shit I love. I love that because then you can, without discourse, you can never change your mind. And I am stubborn; it's really hard to change my mind, but I do change my mind. And without that sort of discourse, you can never learn anything from someone. So, you know what I mean? You can never see a point of view from a different angle. And that's always like what I'm searching for. Like, absolutely. So, and I, like, that's the other thing, man. Like, people are so fucking afraid to be wrong in this community. Like, I really don't give a shit if I'm wrong about something.
I don't understand. Hey, I'm right there with you on that because I don't understand why some people are so afraid to be wrong. Half the time I say shit, I hope I'm fucking wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh man, looks like when I'd say something like, oh man, I don't think Hellblade's coming this year. I definitely want it to come this year.
Yeah,
but hey, I don't think it is.
That's the thing with God of War. I was like, God of War Ragnarok. So that was like what I'm my biggest L that I'm most known for, right?
Yes, I even know about that L for real.
Yeah, yeah. But I was happy. I was like, my first post was like a picture of like God of War, like the game, and me just going, yeah. Like I've never been so happy to be fucking wrong in my life. That game was good. Wasn't as good as 2018. We won't get to that. But it was good. I was happy to have the game. That's an L I'm happy to take. I don't give a shit. Like that's fine. Like it doesn't bother me. So like, yes, that's the thing. Like if you're always so worried about being fucking wrong, then you're never going to say anything. So that doesn't bother me. Like I'm happy to have an opinion and be wrong. And I'll tell you, like you'll see me do it. Like I will literally do it. And people will dogpile the fuck out of you. I'll do it on Twitter. I'll be like, yeah, no, I was wrong about that. That's my L. Absolutely. I got no issue with being fucking wrong. Like if everyone was right all the fucking time, the world would be perfect, right? I don't understand. Like these people who think that they can be right all the time. It's weird. You can't be. It's you know, it's a joke to me. We had a joke about it today. So we pre-recorded every second. We pre-record every second week now because of my work. And we recorded before today, so that's why I was up at 4 a.m. And you know, Umbra and Jedi obviously fucking got both my knees, man, for Starfield because that was pretty solid. I was pretty solid that it was going to come out.
Umbra said he is coming after your knees. So on the next episode of Xbox Infinite,
yeah, he got him.
RiskIt loses his knees.
Yeah, and they were absolutely right, man. And I think they both back-ended June. I think they were like slightly after June, and then I think they both later on changed to like they think it's going to be September. So they got a pretty bang on the mark. And that's cool. Like fucking celebrate when you're right. That's fine. Like absolutely. Fuckers.
You just slid that in there. Fuckers.
But yeah, I mean, like, it's a shit thing. This is a shit one to be wrong about, like that one. It was a shit one to be wrong about because not only was I wrong, like the worst part is that it is delayed, and that's shit. That sucks.
Well, let's actually get into some of that kind of stuff right now. Actually, some more gaming news because we've talked about quite a bit of the, you know, content creating in a little bit just now. I'm really interested in some of your takes on some of this gaming stuff that's been happening as of lately. So first thing that I'm gonna push Starfield away for just a little bit, and I want to get your take on Arcane's Redfall coming out May 2nd.
Yeah, awesome. I've been waiting for this game, and so this is the one I've been waiting for. This is more to me. This is more my thing than Starfield, because Starfield's like, I know it's going to be like people are saying 100 hours. Bullshit. That game's like 250, 300, maybe the rest of your life. I don't know. So that's a lot of time to spend in a game. So Redfall. Yeah, look, man, I'm excited. I have a little bit of apprehension about like some of the things that they've said, like the progression. So I don't like that. I don't like co-oping with someone and then losing my progression. And I'm not. Yes, I think that's probably the only gripe that I have with the game, from what I've heard. Everything else looks wicked, like literally, because it's about vampires. But everything else looks awesome. Like it's just that's my game. It's like a first-person shooter. You can co-op it. I love co-op. Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be. Oh, I shouldn't say this. You know the fucking hell. I think it's gonna be like.
Let's go. Let's hear it.
I think it's gonna be an 88. Oh, 86, 88, 86. Between an 86 and an 88. Right?
87. Got it. Okay, so do you fear at all for that game, let's say a year after the launch?
In what way? What do you mean?
Do you think numbers wise it'll still be good, or do you think it'll have a steep decline?
It depends on how replayable it is, how live service it is. I mean, it's a story-driven game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're playing a story. So once you play the story, it's got to be pretty good for me to go back, because from what we're looking at down the line, there's going to be plenty to play. I think we've got Benedict Cumberbatch's Avocado releasing like the day before, right? Last Case of Benedict Fox, if you're wondering what that means.
No, I know what you're talking about with the I guess so. I didn't even think about that game because I'm not that interested in it, to be honest. Sorry.
I'm side scrolling, so I'm super excited about that game. So there's plenty to play. So yeah, I think we will. I think we definitely will. But the thing is, like, it's in Game Pass, so it sort of lives forever, right? Like, if it's an Xbox first-party exclusive, it lives forever. So people who are casuals that like are maybe playing Battlefield and have got their head stuck up their ass when it comes to games, like, you know, Redfall pops up and they're like, oh, check that out, and then like, boom, you know what I mean? So like, that's the good thing about Game Pass. That's why it's a different metric when you talk about that. Like, you talk about player base, we don't talk about sales. Whereas PlayStation is reasonable to talk about sales because that's the only way you can gauge your player base. How many it sold is your player base. How many's actually playing is, you know, obviously Xbox's player base. But I don't think it matters, to be honest, if it dips. As long as it drops and it's good and it's quality. This is the thing that we need to see from Bethesda and from Xbox. We need to see. Oh shit, yes. Mr. Joanna Dark.
I've seen that.
Redfall.
He said it's fun.
He said Redfall is fun. Yeah. Joe, we need to talk, me and you, but you're always hiding offline. I don't like it.
Right.
And there's with good reason. Yeah, man. Well, that's the thing. If it's fun, and it's solid, like graphically, it looks amazing. The concept is different. You know, it's not a Back for Blood, so that's what I was worried about, and it's more of a Borderlands sort of type thing that they said.
That's what has me excited, for real.
Yeah. Then it's cool. Then you're cruising through an open world. You're doing things. You're doing like this, that, the other. Like that to me is cool, man. And you do it in co-op. The only thing that pisses me off is that, like, one person
progression,
is one of us is going to lose out. Like, there's going to be one person who progresses. And then normally I know Pete will be like, oh, I don't care about progression because he's just a nice dude, right? So he'll be like, fuck it, we'll play in your game, and like
that's how I'm like that too. I'm like that too. I don't care. I'll play on somebody else's game. I've done that with Wolong with a few friends already. Like, I'll just hop in your game. We can beat it over there. I don't care. But Wolong actually progresses you though. Like, it does progress you.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I think you can see I got this wrong. So you can take back weapons, but it doesn't progress the story. So I think you do level up. I think you do get weapons, but you don't take yourself to that point in the story, so you got to go back and do it again, and that to me is a bit bothersome. Sorry, I'm just belting the shit out of my mic.
What I'm wondering is if when you come back, are you just dominating everything? Is everything just like a spitting in the wind?
Or is the world leveling to you as you level?
Right.
Yeah, that's an interesting question, dude. Hopefully, come on. Hopefully they've got that sorted. If that's what they're doing with the progression, then that should definitely be a design choice to come back and, you know what I mean? Because otherwise you're just railing the story, like you'll rail through it until you get to that bit. Yeah, I mean, it could be a Ubisoft type thing where that, God forbid, Ubisoft games are good, where there's sections you won't be able to go in because obviously they're too powerful for you. So it could be something like that. So maybe you can just go ahead and knock out all the sections that you've knocked out quickly. That's
I bet it is going to be like that. I bet it's going to be, I mean, obviously some people have played it already, but I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be like that where it's like, yo, you come over here, just like Borderlands, where it's like, yo, you go in this area, you might get the smoke. But if you go over here, you're going to destroy everything. You're going to be running this side of the town, but you ain't doing shit on this side of the town.
Yeah, at least not for 3 hours. Yeah, you come back and see us later. Hopefully he does that. But I mean, that game I think is going to be like a very good game. I think it's going to hit it in the 80s, high 80s. Not that I give a shit about Metacritic, but like I really, really don't, because
Arcane's known to hit in the high 80s at least. They've done it several times. The only thing that makes me nervous, which I mean, I don't know if anybody has an answer to this at all, other than maybe Arcane themselves. But like, yo,
Joe.
Like, let's make sure. I mean, yeah, right. But let's make sure that we're on top of the DLC and stuff like that for it. Let's not have a Halo situation where it's just like, here it is, and then maybe we come back, maybe we don't. Who knows?
What are we now? In like almost a full? Is it almost a full year? Or is it almost 6 months? I worked it out the other day. No, it's almost a full year.
In what?
In Halo. So we're a full year after the release of Halo, and we just
we're about. I want to say like we're 15 months into Halo.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah. It was a full year plus a few months. Yeah. That's just abysmal, dude, for any live service game to be coming out with season 3 15 months later, unless your season you've obviously played the tutorial boss. See, Wolong's not my thing either, man. It just does not do it. I played the demo. Is the demo different? And is the game different in any way to the demo?
No. Well, which demo did you play? Which demo?
First one.
So the earlier demo, not the one that just recently came before the game launched.
Yeah, the earlier demo.
Yeah, the earlier demo is very similar. It's like the early demo was the second level of the game. And it's very much like that for most of the game. So like if you're talking about like gameplay loop where it's like Soulsy-ish, but with like a magic kind of like, or not with a magic, but like with that extra kind of, I don't know, kind of kung fu kick to it, I guess. It's very much like that. Some people say it's like Sekiro and Bloodborne put together or something like that. I don't know. I've never played Sekiro, but I will tell you that it's a lot of freaking work. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of dying. Crushing defeat.
Yeah, Sekiro kicked the shit out of me. Like, yeah, Sekiro is one of those games that like makes you question being a gamer. You know, like is this what I want to do with my life?
You're not into Souls games?
I didn't mind Elden Ring, but no, I do not have the patience for. And when it comes to gaming, I've learned that I'm actually more patient than I ever thought I was. But I mean, if you hear Pete play for like 5 minutes, you're a patient. You know you're patient. But no, not really, dude. It's never been my cup of tea. But I will try them because you never know. You play one that just hits, right? Like Elden Ring. So look, I love Sekiro, and I wish Miss Joanna Dark, they had an easy mode on there for. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Christo said it right. I meant Neo and Sekiro. Those were the two games that it gets compared to, like, a lot as being tied together.
I hated Neo. I
didn't
loved
really like
Sekiro.
Neo too.
Yeah.
I didn't like Neo as well.
Yeah, it's not for me, but I'm not there yet. Like, I'm still at Dead Space, Hi-Fi Rush, Harry Potter. Like, I got a bit to go before I get there. I mean, I haven't even touched Atomic Heart. Like, I haven't booted it up.
That's wild. I thought you would have been playing some Atomic Heart by now already.
See, I was. That's the thing. I was up like cat killing my backlog. I killed it. Last 2 years I've had off work, right? So I was just killing absolutely everything. And this last month for me has been like flat out. I went to Bali. I started a new job, flying in and flying out. Like, I've only done a couple of weeks at my new job. So, like, it's just been a lot going on for me. So once I settle in, I'm not settled in, I'll start really chewing into the games. You know, kids getting sick and stuff. You give it a 7. Mr. Joanna Dark says he gives Atomic Heart a 7.
I think that's a fair score.
Yeah, I heard it was. So people were comparing the dialogue to Forspoken, and with that comparison, it's probably right. But they're like, but no one's. All I hear about is Forspoken being ripped on all the time. Well, that's because the whole game's bad. Like, it's not just like one segment of the game. The entire game was bad. Like, that whole game was bad. It was just horrific. Like I don't know how is it. There's got to be someone at that studio that's just like, okay, let's release it. Like, I mean, like, this is like, so this. You can't even start. There's nowhere to start with it. The story that gets told is through text log, the story of the world. And they've got cringy ass dialogue back and forth, and that's the perfect spot to tell the story of the world. Like, why didn't they do that? That could have been enough to carry the game through. Just that one single design choice. Like, that's all. That if you've got a good story happening between your characters and between the world that they're living in, that, you know. But the combat had no weight to it at all, which is sort of my problem with Wulong. It just feels like it doesn't feel like a hit, you know what I mean? But if they've changed that, because I did just play the first demo, I just didn't feel it didn't have any weight to it, is the only way to describe it. Like, it didn't feel like it, you know, when you animate and you hit something, like, there should be sort of a response. I hate games that just sort of cut through stuff. Unless it's a side scroller like Indie, I'm cool with that. You know, the traversal people said was good. Man, that traversal was like, it looked cool when you were traversing, but if you're trying to traverse up a mountain, it was terrible. Oh man, there's nothing about that game was good, and you cannot compare just one segment of a game to, you know, that is actually pretty decent to a whole game. You know, it's just absolute shit. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to dunk on Forspoken for like 10 minutes.
I didn't like the mountain climbing at all in that game either. I remember that because I was like, man, I'm gonna try to run up that thing because you move so fast when you're on the ground, and then it turns into like Mario platformer, and it's like, wait a second, I feel like I'm slowed way down right here. Like, I feel very handicapped right here. Don't know what to do.
And you've got to pick your spots. It's just and the AI. Like, I literally just beat the shit out of someone's back. They didn't even turn around. And it wasn't like a 1-2 hit, they were dead. It was like 15 hits of them having their back to me. Disrespectful, for one. And two, like, surely you could feel that I'm punching you in the back of the head. Like, why aren't you turning around? Yeah.
I'm just killing him and he doesn't care. That's fine.
Yeah. Like, yeah. I mean, and if you wanted to talk about the whole square thing, and Umbra said this earlier, and I sort of was sort of holding back a little bit, but I completely agree with his take, because he said, "Fuck Square. They deserve everything they get. They deserve it. The way they treated their Western developers, the business decision to sell off their one of their greatest IPs and one of their greatest studios, and the way they treated that studio." And Crystal came out and said afterwards, like, They didn't say they treated us badly, but you could tell in their response to some of the things that were going on at Square that they weren't treated very well. And what game am I talking about? Forspoken. Cry Toast. Chris Toast. Chris Toast. But now we're on to Square. Yeah, I think like they're not as bad as Platinum, but Platinum is just one of those studios and go and get fucked. Like, as far as I'm concerned, like the way that dude behaves on Twitter is just like absolutely egregious.
Insane.
I think I'm bad. Yeah, this guy is like the head of a studio. Like, he should not be calling people that speak English cockroaches. That's disgusting. Square's not quite there, but I just feel from the way that they've treated their Western developers that there's a little something there that I don't like.
I just don't like that they're so cocky. I'm not a fan of how cocky Square Enix is, in my opinion, because I just think that, like, I guess you could say that with a lot of studios. You take this game away, what do you got? But I mean, obviously, Octopath is good. They've made some good publishings before. Back before they were Enix, when they were soft, they were pretty dope as well. They have a weird history, but as of lately, it's just like been kind of hard to watch a little bit with their exiting of some of them, the way that they talk to their own gamers in Japan, the way that they're so quick to just jump ship in certain aspects of their business is just weird to me. And being so vocal publicly is probably what I don't love exactly, because I'm sure Microsoft or PlayStation or, Take-Two, like, I'm sure when they're not happy, like, the people that work there know it, right? Yeah. I mean, I've worked at plenty of businesses where it's like we're smiling when customers come in, but we know our manager in the back is seething right now, right? But I just feel like it's weird that they are so willing to shout from the sky, like, "Hey, this American studio sucks for us right here, and we don't really like what they're doing." And what do you mean that Game Pass money? That's our money. Like, you're looking to get paid? That people can fly, remember that?
Yeah, that's stuff with Outriders, man, absolutely. And the other thing is, I'll also add, every one of you out there on Twitter, if you complained about Final Fantasy VII Remake not coming to Game Pass, then you should be complaining about Starfield being late, because that's another thing that was said that was going to be done, and I'm big on that. Which is why I was like feeling terrible if I wasn't going to make your show today. If I say I'm going to do something, then I fucking make sure that I can do it, and I am going to do it. And I fucking hate when people don't do it, and I hate it when businesses don't do it. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Don't tiptoe with these little disclaimers at the bottom. We are targeting this. If you're targeting something and you miss it, that's an L. God damn it. Sorry to bring us back to Starfield.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Mrs. Joanna Dark saying R.I.P. to the Marchers. Oh, man.
That's another weird thing that I got caught up in. Like, someone, for some reason, I never said anything about March. Like, never said. And then all of a sudden I'm getting tagged on Twitter and like, as I'm a marcher, and I'm like, I never said shit about March, man. What are you talking about? Like, I was kidding around when I said it, but I'll take the L for it because I said it, because it's funny. But fucking April 12th is like International Space Flight Day, like when man went into space. But it's also Grilled Cheese Day. And like, we were like looking at all the dates. I think it was me, Mac Bound, and Gray Monad, good friend. And we were like researching it, and we found an article where Todd Howard was talking about it's going to have the best rendered grilled cheese sandwiches in a space game you've ever seen. I was like, that's it. It's going to be April 12th. But we were
Hey,
mostly
I mean, that's a good guess. That's a good guess, but you were several months off.
Several months off, but I definitely wasn't on this March as the thing, man. There's no way. Like, there was no way it was ever releasing in March. Like, never, ever, ever. I did post the CD keys thing, but I wasn't saying that it's like a definite. I just posted it out there. Say, hey, here's some information.
All right, so let's go on ahead and, let the dogs out, I guess. So Starfield now, we're going to talk about it. We're going to actually talk. I mean, I know you brought it up 7 times, 12 times, but now we're actually talking about it. Okay. So, yeah, we talked about Redfall. We talked about some other stuff. Starfield it is. So as everybody that's really familiar with Xboxes and is in content creating and all this stuff, you seen the announcement for Starfield yesterday. I'm sure you were extremely hyped when you seen it. Tell me the first thought you had when you seen 9/6/2023. Before you answer, I'm gonna tell you mine. I was like, what country is this? like what country is this coming in? Because I was thinking that maybe the 6 and 9 were, you know how certain countries will do the month, day, and year, and then other countries do day, month, and then year. I was thinking, maybe they did that at first, and then at the very end of the trailer, it said September 6th, and I was like, son of a bitch.
So when the trailer first dropped, I think that is exactly what I did, actually. I did the same thing. But see, so just it's every other country in the world except for America that does that, by the way. Day, month, year.
Really?
100%.
Everyone else does that.
America is the only country that does month, day, year. Yeah. And it's weird because you go small, medium, big, right? And then, but yours is medium, small, big, which is weird. Anyway, it's just like sort of how it makes sense to me because obviously I'm Australian. But yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I was like, oh shit, really? I was like, oh shit, really? Yes. Okay, cool. And then that dropped. My first thought, do you know what the first thing that popped into my head was? Don't you fucking do it. That was the first thing that went through my head. I was like, Starfield trailer. Don't you fucking do it. I was like, don't you delay this game. And they delayed it, and I was like, motherfucker. That's why my phone's cracked, because I actually...
Wow. There's casualties.
I punched the phone. No, only kidding. Only kidding. I didn't lose my shit that much. I just sort of thought I usually will think before I react, but I did react a little bit to that one. I thought a little bit, and I was like, man, everyone should have just shut the fuck up. Why did we talk? Why was there so much talk about it being delayed? It was literally the months leading up to Starfield was like every single content creator was like, I think it's going to be delayed. I think it's going to be delayed. I think it's going to be delayed. I'm okay if it's going to be delayed. It's fine if it's delayed. I just want a good game. It's going to be delayed. Like Microsoft is hearing this shit and they're like, hey, Todd, they're all right with a delay. Did you want to delay it or you do? Like, I'm sure that is not the only reason. I'm sure they didn't just go like, oh shit, they want to delay. Let's delay it. Whatever, Charlie. Bring Charlie.
I was wondering if you were thinking or what was going on. You were reading. Gotcha.
Yeah. I'm sure that wasn't the only reason that obviously they needed the delay. Delays are a good thing for the game. What's not good is to come out twice now and give time frames and not hit them, especially the first one, dude. I mean, and that's the most forgivable one because that's one you can expect them to learn their lesson from. Like, we wrote it in pen. I wouldn't have written it in pencil. And then, oh shit, delay. And you just think after that, they would learn. But no. They come back with here's what's coming in the next 12 months. And then it's not. And by the way, I did the math today. It was like 14 games that literally we have not seen. They still got time, but I don't think we're going to be dropping 14 games between now and that 12-month time frame. So I don't think they should do that again. And Mr. Joe, if you can just knock on Phil's door whilst you're at work and say, "Hey, RiskIt thinks that this is a bad idea." Joe would be like, "Fuck off, man. I wasn't even doing that."
Right.
But like, it took me a while to figure out why I was so pissed off. Like, because I was pissed off. Like, I wasn't just. Everyone's like, "Why are you crying?" I'm like, "I'm not fucking crying, mother." Like, if you think that I'm pissed off, like, I ain't sad. I'm angry. And the reason that I'm angry is because we've gone through whole generation of Xbox One, the back end of 360 that wasn't great. The whole generation of Xbox One, 360 as a whole was a great generation. One was terrible. Terrible. And we got told things, and then we got told this, and they changed their mind, and they flip-flopped, and then it seemed when Phil took over that he was right in the ship. Completely understand it's a big ship. It's going to take a while to turn around. I get that. That's cool. Start making acquisitions. Things are looking good. Games aren't coming. They probably had like some of them, Halo 6 years or whatever. Games aren't coming. Okay, cool. Takes a while to right the ship. So they're righting the ship. Things are looking good. Gets 2021. Forza drops. Halo drops. Finally. I think every Xbox guy was like, fucking, we made it. We're here. We got this coming. We got this coming. We got this coming. It's looking good. Stalker gets delayed. Fair enough. Okay. Then they got nothing for 2022. Like nothing. That's a step back. And I'm like, all right, COVID, I'm willing to accept this. I'm willing to accept it. It's going to take them a while. There's a lot of games coming. We'll just deal with it. They delay Starfield. Okay. I'm willing to accept that too. All right. But this is where I'm getting to my limit, because you're telling me one thing and then it's not happening. And you tell me again and then it's not happening. And you tell me again and then it doesn't fucking happen. Like, how many times does it take before you lose trust? And that's why I was pissed off, because I do trust the company. I've been with that platform holder for over 20 years. Loved everything they do. I'm invested in the console. I mean, I hate to say it. Like, I have invested my time, I have invested my money, and I have invested hope in the console. And there's been some dark times, and we thought we were coming out of them. And then, it's a straw that broke the camel's back, really. And I just don't trust him. It's Joe, if you say Pentiment again, I swear to God. Yeah, look, I get people love that game, and that's cool. There's no big AAAs, and that's why I was so. That's to me. That's. I sat down and thought about it after I sort of reacted to it, which you should never do, which I did do. I don't regret though. But I just lost a bit of trust in the company, and for Phil, man, like I do trust Phil. I think Phil is a gamer. I think Phil is for gamers. He's a businessman. I think but he also sees things from a gamer's perspective. And for Phil to stand up there and say 12 months and then not make it happen. Like, he is the head of Xbox. It's on him. He should make that happen. Like, what do you fucking need? You need every studio we have to come and help you, Bethesda? Okay. We're going to make this happen. It's a couple of months and it's not that drastic. And I get it, but it's just, it was just disappointing, and that's why it pissed me off so much.
Okay. As Skip Bayless would say, my turn. My turn. All right. So I tell you, man, I'm not mad at Starfield. Not one bit. Not one bit. I think Starfield has nothing to do with my frustration at all. Starfield could be delayed another year right now. And I'm not mad at Starfield. I'm not even really mad. I'm like what you said earlier. I'm just disappointed, man. It's just like remember what Phil and them said about VR way back. Let's go way back then.
Mm-hmm.
How Microsoft is looking into VR, and we need that. That just kind of dissipated and kind of floated into the nether realm or whatnot. You say, hey, we have all these games coming. We got this new studio. Things look a little rocky with some of these new studios and stuff like that over time. Oh, and like each time it feels like I'm being sold a bandage. I feel like I'm being sold a bandage, and they're like, hey, put this on your hurt spot. And we'll go make a new bandage. So by the time that one's ready to fall off, you can throw another one on there. And I'm just like, I need medicine, not a bandage. Stop giving me bandages. God damn it. I need the damn medicine. I want to stop the bleeding. But it's just like, they came out and talked about Starfield and Redfall delayed after the debacle with Halo that's been going on, while the new studio working on Perfect Dark is having issues, and then the failed launch and mixed reviews that is Crossfire X. And it's just like, there was just so much like negative within Xbox first party studios last year, and everyone was like, Xbox wasn't too bad. And it's just like, dude, it's because you were high on Game Pass. You were high as fuck on Game Pass that you had no idea how bad that first party was trying to hang at that moment. They literally got the best that they could muster, no disrespect, but the best they could muster was Pentiment for the entire year. No disrespect to the game, because I'm sure it's fantastic for those that love it. Mm-hmm. But when the other guys are coming out with, sure, they had delays with Horizon, God of War, Gran Turismo, but what did they say? They said, we're coming with Horizon next year. They did it. They're coming with Gran Turismo next year. They did it. But most importantly, they didn't put their foot in their mouth about God of War. They waited to the point that they were getting dick pics. They waited until they were like, all right, this is looking good, y'all. Let's send out the tweet. Let's send out the message. Let's put out the trailer on the YouTube. Let's do this damn thing, because there is no stopping this train now. It's coming.
That's right. They set that RiskIt trap well, and I fell straight into it. Like waiting is, yeah, absolutely. But look, Joe and Dark. Oh, he's asking a question, but I just want to like this is coming from a place of love. A little bit disappointment. But dude, like, Xbox needs to do better with the things that they need to do better on. And we don't even need to say what they are. Like, I'm sure that they know what they are. But their over communication is one of the things that absolutely kills them. And in 2019, 2020, and 21, not even 21, 2020, it was okay to do what they did because they needed to win back some trust and to say, hey, we got a whole bunch of games coming in the future. They're coming. This is what, and we got a new console coming. So this is why you should buy our console. And that makes sense. And they had to do that, but they don't need to do that now. Like 2022 was not a catalyst for them to have to go back to that formula of like, this is what we're going to do and then miss the mark. They do. They just need to be quiet with their communication until they know 100%. 100%, then tell us.
So Mr. Joanna Dark said, can I ask this Ham Solo, why can others use third-party deals to help their drought, but Xbox can't? Ham, those games were delayed prior and Horizon had bugs. Oh, 100%. You're right. But what I'm saying is like, yo, like not
cadence.
only, well, not only did they have cadence, but like if the game is kind of broken, sure. Like maybe, Horizon was fixed eventually. There was parts of Halo that were busted on PC. Like whenever you picked up your mouse mid-game and you were using a controller, you lost all aim assists on PC playing. So, I mean, I get that, there's bugs, but what I'm talking about is exactly what RiskIt just got done saying. The cadence is just so off beat that they can't even keep up with themselves. And it's frustrating to see. It's really frustrating because you have because the thing is, Miss Joanna, you said, oh, they can use third party. I just got done telling you that everybody was high on Game Pass all last year. It was fantastic. Game Pass did us a good job. Game Pass did a good job. PlayStation, now if I want to talk about PlayStation Premium, I can go in. They're garbage. It's not good. I paid the $120 for the whole year. I played maybe 3 games out of it, and I'm not excited to get back in. I think, honestly, their monthly games are better. Xbox Game Pass is better. If I'm comparing the two, what I like on PlayStation is their monthly games. What I like on Xbox is the Game Pass so far. Now, if both of them could, parody each other on that would be like the heaven of gaming. Sure. But they're not. So what I'm doing right now is I'm specifically talking about first party only. I understand Game Pass has done great. I understand that our third party, it's solid. We have games to play. I'm not saying we don't have nothing to play. For God's sakes, I have way too much to play right now. But on some of the key items that I'm looking for, the things that I want to eat, I've been seeing since before the console launch, and I'm still not able to play it. And they've told me, yo, you'll be able to play it. And I sure I understand that, a game needs to be delayed. But why is it every time that you come and tell me something, it's just not true? It's just not like nobody told you to do a guess what we're gonna have within the next 12 months. Nobody told you to go up there and do that. Nobody said, hey, we need to hear that Starfield's coming out within the year. Everybody wanted Starfield to come out within the next year. But goodness gracious, nobody put a gun to your head and said, hey, go up on that stage and say everything here that's shown is coming within the next 12 months. Because as soon as that event was over, Twitter blew up and said, I doubt it. Because
but here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Here's what they could have done. Here's what they could have done and was achievable, probably is achievable, because most of those 14 games are going to come in 2023. Just not in the 12 months that they said. And all they had to say was 2023. If you saw that graphic, you didn't need to say in the next 12 months. You could just say, because they nailed their 2022 list. I think they missed one off. That was a third party. So they nailed that. They knew that was coming. So that they nailed that. So they cleared that list. 2023, they haven't cleared that list. But they have until E3 to do that. And then after that, anything they said was coming again is a misstep. It's still an L. Like, they didn't need to do that. So realistically, I think we can all agree the L was the showcase. And here's what's really funny about this showcase. Like, everyone lost their fucking minds about the showcase. I didn't. I was like, I thought it was good. Thought it was all right. Like, I know that there's not big AAAs coming. I know, like, they've only got a couple of big AAAs coming next year. Like, I thought it was all right. Like, didn't believe the 12-month thing, but I was like, it's pretty good. If they can get Starfield in, if they can get Redfall in, it's all good, right? But everyone was, but no, it was Game of the Year. It was the Game of the Year awards that everyone was losing their minds about, right? Everyone lost their fucking mind. Well, what Game of the Year awards that everyone was losing their minds about, right? Everyone lost their fucking mind. Well, why wasn't Xbox there? How come they weren't there? Blah, 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 blah. But like, no one's losing their minds. Well, some of us are, but no one really lost their minds about being lied to, or not lied. It's not a lie. About being told something that didn't happen. Again, do you know what I mean? It's funny. Those same people that were losing their minds about the Game of the Year awards, they're not complaining about the Starfield thing. They're like, "Yay, Starfield's coming." I'm like, dude, they just took an L again. You got to call it out. Anyway, we've been dunking on Xbox for a little good while.
I
now.
dunk on what I like a lot. I don't sit around and dunk on stuff that I don't really care about too much. And I tell you what, one thing I dunked on that you were dunking on earlier was Forspoken, right?
Mm-hmm.
I actually, call me crazy, but I have fun when I played that demo. Did I think it was worth $70? Get the fuck out of here. That's where I stood on that. But would I pay maybe $30 for that? Yeah, it's just sad to know that they put in as much money as they did, and that's all I want to spend for it. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I felt the same thing with Gotham Knights. I thought that game looked absolutely fun. Would love to play it. Would love to co-op that game. Not at $70.
Yep. But waiting for a deal, right? I'm going to get Gotham Knights.
Absolutely.
As soon as that deal comes.
I can't wait to jam out in that game, but no, not for.
But
70.
see, over here, that game is 120.
Good God,
120 bucks.
Is that what $70 means over there?
Yep. 120
That's insane.
Yeah, that's any.
What's an Xbox cost? Like $1,000?
No, the Xbox is $750 and the PlayStation's $850. 800. But they bundle it, so you're always getting it for $850. Always. Now, if you want to wrap your head around this, right? So if you want to play PSVR 2, right, in Australia, you got to get the console, you got to get the PSVR, the headset, you got to get a game, and all up in its entirety, it comes to $1,750. So $1,750 to play PSVR 2. That's fucking insanity. I was like, I want it. I do want it, but I'm not paying for that.
No, I wouldn't either. That's insane.
No.
I want to get a PSVR 2 as well, but this Joe in the chat convinced me to get the Aya Neo 2. So I am going to be purchasing that. If not that tomorrow, it'll probably be in 2 more weeks once I get paid again. I just want to be comfortable about it when I get it. I want to be able to get the big patches. But you know what the Aya Neo is, right?
No idea.
It's like the Steam Deck. Okay, it's like the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
It's a handheld, but instead of Linux, it runs Windows.
Right.
So I'd be able to download like the Xbox app and play Game Pass off of it a lot easier than I would have to do all that back end stuff on the Steam Deck. But it's also a heck of a lot more expensive.
Is it?
It is. It's like
right. Okay.
a G. It's like a G.
Yeah, over here you can get it for the Air Pro. What's the Air? What's the difference between the Air and the normal?
That's a conversation for another time because I'd have to look it up.
Okay, well, there's about $1,000 difference. So, like, yeah. Oh, yeah. Joe would probably know. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, I mean, over here that's $2,000, 2,000.
Oh my God! Double
Flat.
the price. Jeez Louise, you guys are insane over there with your prices.
I wouldn't spend $2,000 on a handheld if you paid me the $2,000. I'd be like, I'll just keep that $2,000 and go do something with it.
I don't blame you at all. That's freaking insane. But anyways, my goodness, we got to get back on topic. So I want to ask now, like, so we got done talking about the Starfield. Now, last one I want to talk about real quick is Forza.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see it until the back end of the year, or maybe not even start of 2024.
Oh my God, you said it's out of this year, possibly.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see it. I think a lot of people think, I've heard people saying it's going to come earlier because there's a gap somewhere there to fit it in. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. And it's a weird one because it's not. It's a niche game. Doesn't matter how you string it. I mean, it's going into Game Pass, so it won't be as niche. That's the thing. That's the great thing about Game Pass is it turns niche games into like games that everyone plays. So everyone will play it. But I wouldn't buy it. So because it's a sim racer, and for a sim racer, I want a steering wheel and setup, and I don't have a setup. But I think that there's bigger titles to drop. And I think we'll probably see Hellblade this year.
You think
I don't think
Hellblade before Forza? What is going on?
Yeah, I think,
sir.
I think it's pretty close to ready, man. I haven't seen the latest dev diary. But they were. I mean, you got to understand they've been working on this game since I think it was 2018. Whatever was it, 2018? They announced. They didn't announce, but they've been working on it since 2018. I think they announced in 2019, right?
I think they announced at the. I want to say at the Game Awards.
I'm pretty sure it was 2019. But they've been working on this thing for a fucking minute, right? So I'd say it's pretty close to ready. Very close to ready. I don't think we'll see Avowed this year. I think you got Avowed the first half of next year, and then you got Forza. And I think that works together better because if you go into January, February, March, whatever, and you drop in Forza and then you drop Avowed, I think that covers your first half of the year because they're pretty long games to drop. We've still got 14 games out of the ones that they promised us to drop. And then I just wanted to pause for effect. You've got Liza P, Flintlock, Ravenlock. There's a few games in there. And I think that there will be plenty this year. And they're going to need a couple of big bangers for next year. Because going after we look at Hellblade 2 and then we look at Avowed, what's after that? Fable. And that's further out. So what else have they got?
Perfect Dark.
And then Perfect Dark. And what else have they got? They're going to need something for the back end of 2024 and they're going to need something for the front end of 2024. And it needs to be big. It needs to be real big. So 2 really big games that could drop would be Forza and Avowed. And conversely, if that doesn't work, then I think Avowed, Hellblade in the first half of 2024 and Forza at the end. But I don't see it dropping before December. And I think they're having issues with the S, to be honest.
You really do think the Series S is actually an issue?
Yeah, I really think that. I think they're struggling with the memory bandwidth is the issue. I don't think the CPU and the GPU is the issue. I think that, from what we've heard it more than once and it's happening. And yes, there's ways around it. But that tech hasn't been used really up until now. And they're sort of the pioneers, right? All these first-party studios that are using all that RDNA. I doubt mesh shaders. I wonder if they built the game for mesh shaders. That would be great, but they probably didn't. But all of the RDNA 2 feature set, they would be likely using it, but they're pioneers, right? That requires optimization. So you might do something, it might break something else, and you don't know what's going on. So then you got to go figure it out, right? So if you're using new tech and you don't know what broke what, then that's going to take time to problem solve. I think that that's the problem that they're having, because you look at Forza and they don't want it. If they're going to release that on the S, it needs to be sure don't have ray tracing, but I reckon that they're trying to target minimum 1440p 60, but I reckon there'll be 120 FPS mode. And I wouldn't be surprised because Playground, that Forza Tech engine's out of control. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to target 4K 60, but I doubt that. I think they're trying to target 1440p 60 and a 120 FPS mode at 1080p. And I think that would be stretching the system, right? So, yeah, it'd take a lot of time. Whereas Hellblade is on rails, right? And there's a lot of mocap work that goes into that and animating that stuff. And most of that was being done back in early 2020, right? And they were mocapping and 2019, and because they were sending out dev diaries of them mocapping. So it was happening. That might have got held up by Corona as well, though. So yeah, I really do think Forza and Avowed 2024 early, like Forza will be January or something. And then I think, you get Hellblade at the back end of the year.
All right. Well, closing that topic now. Now I got a little bit of questions that I like to ask everybody that comes as part of the show. Just some fun things that I like to know about people. So first of all, I want to know what RiskIt's favorite studio of all time is, and then you have to tell me the game that best represents it.
Lionhead Fable.
Damn, that was fast.
Yeah.
Which Fable?
The game was amazing. One, but two.
What?
Right?
What does that even mean?
Okay, so God, I can't remember the name of him. His name, the head of Lionhead. I can't remember the dude's name. Peter Molyneux? Was it Peter Molyneux? Can't remember his name. I'm pretty sure it's Peter Molyneux. But the way that he described Fable at whatever show that they had, or they had a show, and he described Fable, he was talking about it, and it sounded fucking epic, and no one had done anything like that ever. So I sort of fell in love with the idea, played the game. The game didn't quite meet the expectations of what he promised, but Fable 2 sort of really stepped it up. Does that make sense? That's why 1, but 2. Okay. So I love the game. I love the game. Again, expectations. Like you got to set those expectations right. The expectations he set was like shit that they're not even really properly doing now. But yeah, Fable, man, Lionhead Studios, that was just a fucking egregious when they shut that studio down. And it wasn't even their fault. Like it was. Yeah, that's.
They went in a real weird direction, man.
Yeah, that was just in the dark times, the dark times of Xbox. It really, really was.
Yep, the darkest. But anyways, yeah. So I mean, that was a pretty straight answer. I absolutely loved Fable 2 the most. Fable 3, I thought it was all right. I didn't really get involved with it as much. I didn't like the closet. Were you
evil or were you good?
I was good in 2. Let's see. No, I think I was actually good in all of them.
Yeah, I was good. I'm one of those. I go. I'm going to go evil, and then I just don't because I can't.
Yeah, I know. Yep, I'm the exact same way because I was playing it and I was like, oh, you know what? And then I was just like, man, but I want I want to feel like the hero at the end of the day. I want everybody to hate me.
Yeah, is there something wrong with like people that play evil? Maybe we should round all those people up and like, I don't know, like we have like half of the planet and they have half of the planet and we just see like how it goes. That'd be cool.
I don't know how that'd work. I don't know how you'd qualify. Have people splitting up their families. No, Mama, I'm not evil.
I didn't play evil. I swear to God. He's like holding on to the like controller still. No.
Hey, no way that motherfucker's good. That motherfucker's evil.
Yeah, well, I know where Jim Ryan would be.
Goodness, of course. Yeah. Speaking of that, before I actually continue on in that, I'm kind of curious what you thought of the whole Lulu thing with what she said about Jim Ryan and whatnot. Do you think she's out of pocket at all with the way that she conducts herself online within, talking about, what some say is super confidential stuff?
No, I love it. I don't think it's the best for her career. Like just the way things are these days. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But I love it. I love that she's a human. She's being a human. She's like, she's not like normal. I would not say those things. But like, she just says it how it is, says what happened, and she calls them out. Like she calls out the bullshit, and that's great. I get that Phil can't do that, but I would love Phil to just go, you know what, Jim Ryan's a dick. We've offered him a deal. He's been a dick about it. This is what he said. Like I'd love that, but like it's never going to happen, right? But Lulu's like a little look into and she would be a little pit bull, I reckon, in a negotiation too. Even though she's the communications manager. But yeah, I mean, like, she's a communications manager, dude, or CEO. What's her title? She got real pissed about that too.
I think she was like a CCO or I don't know.
Yeah, CC communications office, communications operating or something. I'll look her up. But I love her. She's champion. Like, she's a breath of fresh air, I think.
She is a breath of the fresh air, and it's almost like it's almost like a little nostalgic seeing her up there saying what she does, because it reminds you of how tough Xbox used to be. Because if you if you remember back in the day, Xbox was like, they were like that BET Uncut of gaming. They were the extra boys, the ones that did what they were, where Sega left off. It felt like they were like, oh, we're outside, we're doing stuff a little wild this time. They had a commercial canceled and all this, just crazy stuff happening.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden, after or during, I'd say pretty much once Game Pass started. This is my opinion. Once Game Pass started, it seemed like they have this like kind of generic streamer kind of aspect where it's like, yeah, everything is fantastic. How have you guys been? It's really good to have you here. Have you tried this phenomenal game? That sucks, but it's phenomenal. You should really go on and try it out. Give it good ratings. Yeah,
it's Phil. That's Phil. It's 110% Phil. But it's not just Phil either. That's like, see, this is the thing, was like where I'm really careful about my name. People like, because I work in a corporate environment. And when you work in a corporate environment, it is like that. You got to be really careful about what you say. Like if I have touched someone on the shoulder, I get fired for that. Like that's harassment. Like it's just such a world of that, and in that corporate environment, and then that translates out as well. Like I'm sure Phil gets home and like strips off his pants, like gets on the couch with his undies, like flicks on Vampire Survivors, cracks a beer, scratches his balls, lights a cigarette, and goes, "Man, these guys are fuck." Like I'm sure he has like
let him know.
I'm sure he does that, but like he's obviously can't do it in public. But I think there's just some people that have, like, I think she would be beloved or like loved, like, and also one of those ones who not to mess with, like in the corporate environment. I really think that she's like that. Like I think she would just say some shit to you and you'd be like, what the fuck? And you'd be like, I love this chick. Like, because I don't know if you've seen interviews with her, she just doesn't hold back at all.
She's wild.
And yeah, she's a champion. And I love that. Like, I love girls like that. If we're going to get into like personal things, I love that sort of like outspoken, intelligent, straight up chicks, man, are just great.
Well, the honesty that she carries is pretty infectious, because it's just like, not only is this is what she saying powerful, but like a couple hours, a few minutes, a day later, like the fact is revealed, and she's been there all day saying that for a hot minute. And it's just like, she backs up what she says, which is insane. And it's kind of, in a little bit, like you were saying, a little bit of career suicide, it seems like. But
yeah, I know.
But
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never hired or fired anybody in that level of anything in my life. So for all I know, as long as you're, if you have friends in the right places, you'll keep your job.
Yeah, well, that is the thing. That's true everywhere. So like I have fired people. It's fucked. I never liked it. Well, once I actually really liked it, but it was a different thing. But I just think she's one of those people that she gets the job done. Like I said, she backs up what she's saying, and she also, I think she would be really infectiously fun, right? So, it is a political environment, corporate environment. So, I'm sure that she ingratiates herself to the right people. Do you know what I mean? Like she's obviously, but I mean, to me, she's a breath of fresh air. I think it's great. I wish we could see more of it, and I don't think we will. But
Phil Spencer's super dope, but he kind of reminds me of the overworked father that has child support. Remember the movie Liar Liar?
Yeah.
With Jim Carrey. He reminds me of Jim Carrey in that movie, where he wants it all to be right, but he just can't quite get it together. Where it's just, and we're all rooting for him, and I'm just like, man, like, when is the end of the movie coming, when like you finally figure it out and it all comes together? Because at the end of Liar Liar, it was fantastic. Everything came together. It was right.
See, I think you'll quit. Man, I'm looking at this damn headphone. It's getting worse. I think that'll be the end of Phil Spencer. So like when he's got it right, I think he'll leave. Because if you go back to 2014 and then look at a photo of him and then go to a now photo, this is taking a toll, man. This is taking a toll. And it's in front of cameras. He's all like, yeah, well, I know when I think about it, like, I love that. He always, when he thinks about stuff and someone asks him a question, you're like, when I think about Lulu Chang and the deals and the great things that we're doing together with the partnerships and the
oh my God, that sounded exactly like him to the T. Jeez Louise, that was perfect. Anyways, we need to get ready to pack up this show, because this has been about 2 hours. That's what I like to limit to. And you risk it. I want to respect your time. I know you got your son that's going through some things. So I want to make sure you get back to him, because for you, it's the morning time. So it's time to start the day. It's time to get things going. Or maybe it's bedtime for you. I don't know. But I know it's early in your country right now.
10 a.m. 10 a.m. We live in the future. So I can tell you what's going to happen with Starfield.
It's not there yet. It's not here yet.
It's gone. Yeah, man, it's been an absolute awesome show. Thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. And sorry about the stress beforehand, because I know that would have been stressful. You've been like, damn, like last minute, motherfucker.
I mean, yeah, you're right. It was like a little bit stressful, because I was like, man, I wish I could have already sent this stuff out and like all that and whatnot. But it's okay. We got it taken care of. And, this episode ain't going nowhere. It'll be on YouTube for people to watch. Let me ask you these last couple questions, so then we can get bouncing up out of here. So one of the main last questions I wanted you to answer is like, what would be, I guess, I guess what is like something that's extremely frustrating to you within gaming as a whole, any part of gaming?
Dishonesty and disingenuousness.
Oh my goodness. He's like, what we were just talking about. God damn it.
Yeah, like it really, really is. Like I'll post shit on Twitter to wind people up, right? But then if you engage with me, you'll get an honest answer. Like, and if you say something that I agree with, I'll be like, I don't care where you're from. Like, I'd be like, yep, I agree with that. But the shifting of your narrative, the shifting of what you believe to match what's happening within a gaming console, that pisses me off. Like I don't like it. It's disingenuous to me. So like it's happened so much in the PlayStation community. You see it happen all the time. Like, okay, like it's always the line moves back or the goalpost shifts. Do you know what I mean? If before the Last of Us remake, if you'd have defined a remaster, right, they probably would have agreed with it all. As soon as that came out, they didn't. You know what I mean? Like it's absolutely insanity. I just don't like it. I'd rather just be honest, man. You don't have to be nice. I hate this. Like, be nice to each other. No, you don't got to do that. You can be cordial. You can be whatever you want to be. But be honest in your views and your opinions. So yeah.
Okay. And then on the flip side of that, what would be like a dream come true in all of gaming for Risk It for the Biscuit?
Starfield on time.
But that's already not happening. So get over it.
Dream come true. Oh, dude, do you know what? Like, I would say right now is I just don't think I'm going to get. I've booked flights to E3, right? And it's fucking expensive if you're coming from Australia.
Do you already have your flight booked?
Yeah, I've got my flight booked, man. Yeah,
nice.
I'm there, and I've got a place to stay. I'm good to go. Like, I will touch down, get a car, and drive there, and stand out the front of the theater because I don't think I'm going to get a ticket. So a dream come true to me would be to get a ticket to that show. Like, this is the one to be at. Like, this is the one to be at. And like, it would be the blow would be a little more softened if I could go to Xbox on the floor, but they're not on the floor. So that's really disappointing for me. But I ain't going to complain about it much. I understand the reasonings for it. I get why they're doing it, and it's cool. E3 booths are fucking expensive, man, and they're really they're like a lot of outlay for little return. That's 110% what's sort of going on with that, and I get that, man. And that decision probably would have been made when they were looking at inflation and the financial. What they believed that was going to be a financial crisis. So they probably made that decision to tighten their belt in areas, like obviously sacking a lot of people, but also in things like that. So I get it, and that's cool. But a dream come true would be to be in the fucking show, dude. Love to shake Phil Spencer's hand. We can talk about partnerships and
you can hang out and drink smoothies.
Do you reckon he gets like absolutely blind drunk, wild, and like do you know what I loved when he got fucking pissed off about being asked about Call of Duty? Do you remember that? And he's like
he looked as pissed as I've ever seen him. I wouldn't call that pissed though.
No, it's definitely not pissed, but I loved how he was like, yes, in the same version. Like he was just like, stop asking me the same fucking question over and over. And it was like, he was annoyed. All right, it wasn't pissed, but he was annoyed, and you never see him get annoyed. And I love that. I would love to see him get angry and just like smash a bar stool over someone's head or something. It'd be great.
Oh my God.
But how's that for partnerships? Anyway, like Jim Ryan's on the ground, like, no more.
You can have it.
No, we don't want Call of Duty. Oh God. Yeah, that'd be a dream come true, man. That is my bucket list. That's why I'm going. I've never been to an E3. We don't have anything like that in WA, in Western Australia, where I am. We have a PAX over east. I've just never been to anything like it. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And if I get in the audience, that'll be awesome. If not, I'm going to try and gate crash it. You'll hear me like screaming out security is like, take him down. I'm like, no, God.
He's an Aussie. Get him.
Like, I'm going to be wearing 3 vests. Like, I'll have a vest at the front, one on my arms and the sides, and I'm going to vest up to my knees, man. It'll be like Ned Kelly outfit. I don't even know if you know. Do you know who Ned Kelly is?
No, I don't.
Look up Ned Kelly. You have to look up Ned Kelly. He is an Aussie icon. I'll tell you about him another time.
Okay. All right. So, bro, I really appreciate you coming out and doing this, even though, like I said, you had family issues that you had to take care of with your son being sick and whatnot, and you've been up all night. I'm sure you already did your podcast, had to record that and whatnot. You had a dope special guest that's going to be coming on to there. Good to see Infinite up in here. I know you were here at the beginning of the podcast. Good to see you here towards the end as well. But brother, please go on ahead one more time. Let everybody know where they can find you if they don't already know.
Yeah. Well, again, thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. Especially with the mess around earlier on. He woke up pretty good, so hopefully he's still good. Unfortunately, you're gonna love this. Our special guest canceled last minute.
Oh no!
So, yeah, yeah. So I know how it feels. So I was doing my damnedest to get on. But yeah, you can find me on RiskIt4theBiskit. You just type that in, but it's biscuit with an SISKIT. If you're listening, Mr. Joe, because he never gets it right when he types in the chat. Just saying. And we go live with Xbox Infinite with Eternal Umbra down there every Friday, 7 p.m. EST. So yeah, we have a lot of fun. And this one was a lot of fun, actually. We got Mark from Legendary Drops. I don't know if you know Mark, but Mark is a champion, funny guy, great guy, and his counterpart as well over at Legendary Drops. Ian didn't come through this week, but yeah, we appreciated him coming through. I think we gave him 20 minutes notice, and he was good to go. So he was champion.
That's dope. Oh yeah, at least the availability for someone else to help out was dope. There, that's what's up, man. But I always have people do this on the exit, and I'm gonna make you do it as well. Please, for me, describe gaming in just 3 words.
Dude. Fun, life, friends.
3 F's. Oh wait, life. FAF or FLF. Oh my god, my brain is fucking fried right now. Anyways,
FFL.
FFL. Friends, fun, and life.
Oh my god. RE4 right. Demo. Stop talking about it.
Yep. It's time for RiskIt to go play the demo. And it's time for me to get up out of here. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Make sure you guys hit that like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button as well. We will be coming back to you with many more interviews later. Next week's going to be an interesting one. Watch as RiskIt rolls his eyes, because I am having the Basement Radio Arcade Podcast member on this channel. And that, yes, if you do the acronym, it is BRAP. He is going to be coming onto this. Oh, yes, there it is. There it is. I knew it was coming. Yes, I am having him on next Thursday, and it will be interesting. I'm excited to have him on, for real, though.
I'm going to be here because I want to know if he uses all those big words when he talks. And I've got no issue with using big words. I've got quite a huge vocabulary, but I just don't use it because I don't want to sound like a wanker all the time. Not that Brap does. Brap, I'm sure he's a lovely guy. Can't wait to see you next week, Brap. Thank you for having me on the show, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. And then tomorrow, make sure you guys come through. We're going to be doing Bullshit and me, Loke, Cozy Beluga, Matt Likes Games, and our guest, K Mega, will be showing up. Great dude, fantastic dude from the GRG podcast. But thanks everybody for showing up, pulling up, and doing your thing. Y'all make sure y'all do what I always tell you to do at the end of every episode, and that is to keep it gaming or keep it moving. Peace out. Welcome to the Behind Them Sticks podcast, brought to you by TSWS Gaming.
Come and talk to me, Lennard Ray. That's your name. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby. Listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you. If you quit playing, won't you take a chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Look, see we vibing and you know it's true. Baby, what it do? Do for me and I'ma do for you. No doubt about it. Boosie, I'm a Midwest king, looking for myself a queen. Ready to chase a dream with a dope